BCast.
The big trade now. Antonio Brown traded to the Raiders for just a third and a fifth round pick. I might have to go into a bit of a rant here because when I saw this, the only thing I can describe it as shocked. It doesn't make too much sense for that, but the fact that they only had to give up a third and a fifth round, it's kind of a no-brainer. Like the best wide receiver, well, at worst, the top 3 wide receiver in the NFL for just a third and a fifth round pick. I mean, that's insane. I don't know how well he will do with the Raiders. I would have loved for him to come to the Niners. But I think it's interesting. I think he's going to miss Big Ben more than he thinks he will when he finds out what it's like to play with Derek Carr. But who knows? Maybe Derek Carr returns the MVP for him. But for the Raiders, that's an A+ on that trade. Latavius Murray leaves the Eagles and goes to the Saints. Again, I think it's because the Saints knew Mark Ingram was leaving, and they kind of were left no choice but to try and pick up another backup because I don't know if they're convinced that Kamara is really a 3-down back and can sustain a whole season, which I also do not think he can. So I think Murray offers them a pretty good backup option. It's not great. It's kind of just an average signing there. I give it like a B. This one kind of slid under the radar for me. I didn't notice it until a little bit ago, but edge rusher is going to the Cardinals. He's 36, which seems weird. It doesn't seem like it would make a lot of sense for, again, a young rebuilding Cardinals to sign him, but a 1-year, $7 million deal is pretty cheap, so he's been pretty productive, and I mean, that doesn't seem like anything's going to slow him down. And if he can have a repeat of his 2018 season, it'll be one of the smartest signings of the offseason that flew pretty under the radar. So I'd say good move by Arizona there. They paid pretty little and he can lead their young core. I think that's a good move for Arizona. C.J. Mosley to the Jets, Adrian Amos to the Packers, Preston Smith to the Packers, also Zarius Smith to the Packers. The Packers are going in on the defensive side, which I think they desperately need to do. If they can just give a little bit of help to Aaron Rodgers, they could be a lot better team. Now this one was interesting. Sheldon Richardson to the Browns, the defensive tackle, for a 3-year, $36 million deal. He's talented, and I think that's what the Browns see in him, but he hasn't showed a lot of consistency, and his effort has been questionable at many times. So, I mean, if he can play up to his full potential, that's another huge asset. I just don't know if that's going to happen, so I'd give it like a B. Cole Beasley to the Bills was kind of surprising to me because I wouldn't think the Cowboys would let him go so easily as a $4,029,000 contract. He's probably going to enjoy playing for this more creative system on the Bills. Whether or not Josh Allen will use him, I don't know. You can't say yet. Josh Allen almost got Antonio Brown and then found out he wasn't. Found out he's getting Cole Beasley. Probably a bit of a letdown. But Cole Beasley's a solid slot receiver. He gets the job done, and it's not a big contract. I think that's a good trade. I mean, a good signing. I'd give it about a B+. Let's see. Is there any big ones left to cover before I get into the trades? John Brown also going to the Bills. So the Bills clearly are looking to give Josh Allen some weapons, but I don't know if this is really the type of weapon that's going to fit Josh Allen, a deep pass receiver. I don't know if it's really a good signing by them as $27 million for 3 years. Doesn't seem like a lot. Guaranteed $11 million. I mean, I see what they're trying to do, but I don't think that John Brown is the best option. But there's kind of a lack of talent at the wide receiver position available this offseason, so I understand why they do it. I don't think there's much else they could do, so I'd give it a B. Okay, here's a big one. Le'Veon Bell goes to the Jets, and I don't think that this is a smart move by the Jets. 4 years, $52 million. Even though Le'Veon Bell thinks that he's worth this much, I do not think he is. His best version of himself was in 2014, and ever since then he hasn't really been the same. The real market value is pretty ridiculous. If you look at his 3-year average is $6 million, but their average cap hit for him is 13.1. I understand, again, they're trying to bring in big names and playmakers around Sam Darnold, but I just don't think aging Le'Veon Bell, who we haven't seen be good in 4 or 5 years, haven't seen be elite in 4 or 5 years, is the best idea ever. I'd give it like a C. I know they've been the front runner the whole time, but I don't really understand why they would want to be the front runner. I think he'll have fun being the head of offense, but I don't think they're going to have a very good offense next year again. I think they're going to struggle, and a lot of people are going to question that signing. Okay, Earl Thomas. This one was heartbreaking for me as a Niner fan because I was really hoping Richard Sherman could convince him into coming to the Niners. But to the Ravens were stacking up today with Mark Ingram and Earl Thomas. Um, 4-year, $55 million contract for a 29-year-old seems excessive, but he's an amazing player. Defense altering talent. He's gonna improve the Ravens secondary like crazy. The Ravens already have a great defense, and for the price they paid for Earl Thomas compared to the prices that were paid for like Landon Collins and Tyrann Mathieu, it's actually a pretty good deal, especially because I think Earl Thomas is a league above all those players. And I just think that's a great signing by the Ravens, and the Ravens are going to be a scary team this year. I don't know if the Steelers have any chance of dethroning them after all they've lost this offseason as well. Of course, I guess I'll wrap it up here with the Odell Beckham traded to the Browns for a first, a third, and Jabril Peppers. This is pretty shocking again, and as a Niner fan, pretty disappointing because I was really hoping we could get our hands on Odell. Um, there's not too much to say about it. I don't understand where the Giants are planning on going. They still keep Eli Manning, but they trade Odell. I don't know why they paid Odell so much money if they don't really want him. I don't know if it was a situation where Odell didn't want to be there. But I think Odell and the Browns is really scary. The Browns now have Chubb, Kareem Hunt, who, well, that's complicated, but he's still offensive weapon. Odell gets to reunite with Jarvis Landry, and Baker Mayfield's looking like a beast. The Browns are getting really scary. And if Sheldon Richardson can play to his full potential, that'll be another good addition for them. I think it's an amazing job by the Browns to get him, and I wish the Niners would have got him as well. I don't think it's good for the Giants. I'd give the Browns an A plus, and I'd give the Giants a D because I don't understand what they're really going for, unless they're going into rebuild mode, which it seems like they are. In which I don't understand why they haven't moved on from Eli Manning. But they better use this first round pick. They better use one of their first round picks this year on a quarterback. And then we'll see if they can turn the rest of the team around. Jabril Peppers is a decent player who's got some potential. But I just wish Odell would have gone to the Niners. I guess to wrap it up, it's been a crazy offseason. Like, nothing has been predictable so far, for me at least. I might have to keep you guys updated later if there's any more big signings. Oh, I forgot one more. D Ford goes to the Niners in a sign-in trade in which they paid him, I think, around $55 million. I was very happy about that. That was a great job by the Niners to get a playmaker on the defensive end. I think our defense is looking a lot scarier with Quan Alexander, even though that's not the best guy we could have got. We'll see what we do in the draft, and maybe Nick Bosa to add, but I don't know if you still go with Nick Bosa after having D Ford. So that gives them a lot of interesting new options to look at in the draft. But I think the Niners are a pretty exciting team, and I think Garoppolo's good, and I think Tevin Coleman also got signed. That one I don't understand as much because you paid McKinnon so much, and Coleman is essentially just another version of McKinnon and it's kind of do the same thing. But, I mean, they're just trying to add talent and weapons around Garoppolo, and I hope they can add another wide receiver in the draft or maybe trade, but I don't think there's any more options left. So maybe Pettis can develop, and they're going to have to draft a good wide receiver. We'll see how that goes. I wish they would have got Antonio Brown, but I think the Niners are doing some good stuff this offseason, and I'll be excited to watch them this year. All right, so that just about wraps it up. Crazy offseason so far. Really exciting. Can't wait for the draft. Can't wait for more trades. I'll be here to keep you guys updated. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Peace.
eCast